Have you ever seriously wondered what it actually takes to make your first $100,000? Well, today we're going to break down entrepreneur Alex Hormozi's 6-step roadmap to get you there. And look, this isn't just some theory. It's a clear, actionable plan that can literally change your financial reality.
Just let that sink in for a second. This is a guy who's had businesses worth tens of millions of dollars. So why was this moment, just hitting 100 grand, the one that made him feel the wealthiest? Well, it's not about the fancy cars or the luxury you might be picturing. It's about something way, way more fundamental.
You see that number, $100,000? It isn't random. According to Hormozi, it's the key. It's the key that unlocks a completely new way of thinking and, really, a new way of living your life. Think of it as a critical checkpoint in the game. So, what is the big deal with this number? This first part, what we're calling the 100K unlock, is all about why hitting this milestone is so incredibly transformative. And it's about way more than just money. It's about getting your brain back. And this right here, this illustrates that mental shift perfectly. See, before you have that financial cushion, your brain is just stuck in survival mode. It's constantly asking, can I make rent? Can I afford groceries? But once you hit that 100K mark, you're free. You can finally stop worrying about tomorrow and start thinking about your long-term vision. The questions you ask yourself literally change from, can I survive, to what can I build? Okay, so how do we actually get there? Well, the journey starts by building a rock-solid foundation. And this is all about creating a surplus of the two most important resources you've got, your money and your time. The whole plan kicks off with 2 steps that are, frankly, non-negotiable. They take serious discipline. First, you've got to ruthlessly cut every single non-essential cost from your life. And second, you have to reclaim all of your available time. This is how you create the cash and the hours you're going to need to invest in yourself. Now, Hormozi's approach here is, well, it's extreme, but it is incredibly effective. We're talking 0 eating out, only discount groceries, and no new clothes for 2 solid years. But the biggest lever you can pull is your shelter. You have to live as cheaply as humanly possible. He personally split a single bedroom for $400 a month, even when he was making 20 grand a month. Why? Because he knew that every single dollar he saved was another dollar he could reinvest into his future. So you've got the money side handled. What about time? Even if you've got a 9-to-5 job, you still have 8 powerful hours you can use. The 4 hours before work, from 5 to 9 a.m., and the 4 hours after, from 5 to 9 p.m. This is your golden ticket. And here's the key. Focus isn't something you add to your life. It's what's left over when you subtract all the junk, the mindless scrolling, the distractions. If you cut all that out, what would be left for you? Now, if you don't have a 9-to-5, Hormozi has a great framework for your day. It's the 4-4-4 split. That's 4 hours on promotion, getting the word out. 4 hours on delivery, actually doing the work for your clients. And 4 hours on building, working on the future of your business. It's a really simple but really effective way to structure your day. To really squeeze the most out of your time, you've got to understand this difference between being a maker and a manager. Maker time is for deep, focused work, like writing code or creating content. The goal is an empty calendar. Manager time is for communication, calls, meetings, emails. The biggest productivity killer on the planet is trying to be a maker and a manager at the same time. The big takeaway here is you have to block out that maker time and protect it like it's a fortress. All right, so you've saved up some cash, you've carved out some focus time. Now what? Well, now it's time to choose your weapon. This is the skill you're going to pour all those resources into mastering.
Seriously, forget about reinventing the wheel. The fastest way to make money is to find a skill that people are already paying good money for. For business to business, that could be things like content creation or running ads. For business to consumer, here's a brilliant little hack. Just print out your own credit card statement. What services are you paying for every single month? That is a goldmine of ideas for where the demand is.
So once you've got your idea, you need to apply what Hormozi calls the 1-1-1 rule. This is huge. You focus on one product or service for one type of customer using one marketing channel. That's it. You don't get distracted. You master that single path until you hit your first million in revenue. And now we get to the heart of it. We've built the foundation. We've chosen our weapon. Now it's time to execute. This is all about learning the right way and spending your resources smartly.
First things first, we need to totally redefine what it even means to learn. It's not about watching a bunch of videos or reading books. The real definition of learning is this: Given the same situation, you behave differently. So ask yourself, are you actually changing your actions based on what you consume? If your daily behavior isn't changing, you aren't really learning.
And forget the whole 10,000-hour rule. A much more powerful way to think about mastery is 10,000 iterations. See, an iteration embraces failure. It means every single sales call, every post you make is another rep, another chance to get feedback, adapt, and get a little bit better.
And here's the system for how to actually do that. First, you just need to do a ton of it. Get a high volume of work out there so you have data. Then, look at your top 10% best results. What do they have in common? Now, what's the difference between them and the bottom 90%? Find those key details, and then the path is simple. Do more of what works and stop doing what doesn't. It's a constant cycle of improvement.
So what do you do with all that money you've been saving up? You invest it, but strategically. You spend it on tools that give you leverage, like software that saves you time. You spend it on getting help, whether that's courses or tutoring. And you spend it on trial attempts, like running small ad campaigns to get real-world feedback as fast as you possibly can. Now, the final and maybe the hardest step of execution is just plain discipline. As your income starts to grow, you have to resist that temptation to upgrade your lifestyle. The goal isn't to look rich, it's to be rich. And that means focusing on profit, reinvesting in your own growth, and keeping those expenses super low, just like Hormozy did. Because the day you stop spending money on learning is the day you decide you're done growing. So after all of this, all the discipline, the hard work, the thousands of iterations, what's the actual payoff? It's probably not what you think. Let's talk about the real reward. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? When he and his wife, Layla, finally hit that $100,000 mark in their bank account, the feeling wasn't about buying stuff. It was this overwhelming sense of security. They realized they had bought themselves years of freedom. They could finally just breathe. And that is the ultimate prize. The real reward for all of this hard work is freedom. It's freedom from that daily anxiety about money. It's the freedom to stop thinking about just surviving and to start thinking about your real long-term vision. The freedom to finally build something that matters to you. So, there you have it. That's the 6-step roadmap from start to finish. It's a clear path. It requires sacrifice, it requires focus, and it requires relentless execution. The only question left is, now that you have the plan, what are you going to do with it?